Hi everyone. So today is Sunday, February 27th, and I'm going to be going over the bill instructional workshop that I led on Thursday, February 24th, 2022. And I'm Elder Eva Brandt at the time. I'm a senior, and we're just going to be going over this workshop so that you can learn how to properly write a good bill. So, our goals. You don't want your bill to be shot down because of bad grammar, vague instructions, or misleading details, right? You want your bill to be passed because of your good idea, or shut down because you had trouble writing it, you had maybe bad grammar, or your instructions didn't really make sense, right? If you have a good idea, you want it to be passed right away. Okay, you want to be descriptive and straight to the point, right? Fancy words won't get you anywhere if they don't make any sense. So you just want to get to the point, say what you need to say, and not anything else. You want to follow Orwell's 4 questions of writing. Number 1, what am I trying to say? Number 2, what words can I use to express that, or how can I say that? Number 3, how can I make this clearer? How can I say this better? And number 4, how can I make this shorter? Okay, these are super important. You should use this whenever you're writing something, but specifically a bill, the last one is the most important. You don't need to write this long stuff if there's a bunch of superfluous language, right? Okay, so your first step is going to be your bill name. Okay, this is the first thing people look at, right? Wrong. Your first step is not your bill name. Your first step should be your synopsis. If you don't know what your synopsis is, what your bill is going to be about, you're not going to know what to name your bill, right? You could change the idea of your bill, Your bill name should be based on your synopsis. So, yeah, once again, this is the first thing people read when they view your bill. How can you make it as short but descriptive as possible, right? How can you make your synopsis as short but make the most sense and say the main idea of your bill? Okay, so here's my problem. People aren't answering my emails quick enough. It's making me super mad. I'm gonna write a bill to fine them for it. So that's my problem. And what would your synopsis be for this problem? How can you make it as short but descriptive as possible? So if you want, you can pause it right now and kind of write down what you would write. Okay, so I hope you paused it, but if not, once again, this is my problem right here, and we're just gonna move on to the next part. So, did you start with this bill will? If this bill is passed, the point of this bill is, or anything like this bill was made to. If you started with any of these, please don't. That's okay. First of all, that's just unnecessary, right? The point of writing a bill is to make that happen. So you want to be short, sweet, and to the point. You want to give a general description of your bill. How much are you fining people? What's the outcome of your bill? You don't want to start with this bill will because obviously the bill will do that. That's why you're writing it. So here's my synopsis. If Supreme Council members do not respond to emails concerning P-bill within 48 hours or 2 days, they will be subject to a fine of 30 karma points. So, what are the most important things I included in my synopsis? There's going to be 3. Okay, so number 1, the subject. The subject is super important. What's the subject of your bill? Why are you writing this bill? Number 2, time frame, especially with bills that fine people, their time frame is super important. And number 3, the amount fined, right? So when people look on the bill organization, you open the bill, you look at the synopsis, and you're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what this bill is about. I don't know the specifics exactly, but I know that either I need to respond to P-bill bills within 48 hours or I'm going to be fined 30 points. That's it, right? That's your synopsis. 50 words or less. This is about 30, I think. It's less than 30. Okay, your step 2 is your bill name now. You should not include the word bill, okay? Once again, that's the obvious. It is a bill, so you don't need to say bill, okay? So my bill name that I wrote was email fines. What's this bill about? Email fines. Once again, I'm thinking about when I'm looking at the Nate Webster bill organization, at least that's what we use right now. I look at the title of the bill, and if I look at the title of this bill, I know exactly what it's talking about. You get fined for emails, something about emails, right? And then you open the bill and you know exactly what it's talking about. Okay, so your step 3 is your description. This is the most important part of the bill. This needs to be detailed, descriptive, and have proper grammar, okay? Proper grammar, okay? This is super important. It needs to be detailed, descriptive. You don't want to leave any room, like, don't give them a reason to not pass your bill. You want to include everything that could possibly happen with this bill in your description, okay? So here's what to include. I just have a kind of short, quick list. Number one, why? Why are you writing this bill? What inspired you? An issue, a new culture event you come up with, a problem you encountered, right? For me, it was people weren't answering my emails, so that's why I wrote this bill. I didn't like that. Number two, what? What is the point of this bill? What will be achieved by the passage of this bill? See how I crossed out do you hope? That's unnecessary, right? What will be achieved by the passage of this bill? What's going to happen? Okay. Number three, how? How will this bill be enacted? Is there a time frame? Who does this involve? Are the DODs or Supreme Council members carrying it out? How do you expect this bill to be put into action? What's going to happen after the passage of this bill? How is it going to be, like, who's enforcing it? Who's going to make sure that it's happening? Who's going to bring the problem up? And make sure you include all of that. Number four, when? How long is this bill going to last? How soon will it go into action after its passage? We're going to get back to this in a second. Number five, exceptions, especially with pay bills. You need to include this. Are there any exceptions to this bill? Who grants these exceptions and who is given these exceptions? Like, what if someone had a special scenario for why they shouldn't be fined for not responding to the email? Are there exceptions? You need to write this in your bill so that people don't have a reason to not pass your bill. Okay, have you read the Constitution? If you haven't, pause the video right now and go read the Constitution. It's not that long, it's super important, and you can learn so much stuff from it. Okay, I hope you read it, but anyways, if not, Article 6, Laws. Section 2, Length of Laws, right here. Part A, perpetual laws, written to last without end. B, sunset provision, written to last until specific deadline. C, silent on the matter, law written without. Okay, you guys can read that. Anyways, these you need to include in your bill. Is it going to last forever? Is it going to sunset at the end of this term? Is it up to the current Supreme Council to decide? Or does Mr. P have power over it? Okay, so step 3. Again, I want you guys to write a short description of the bill based on the synopsis I gave. Make sure you include all 5 necessary points. So this slide right here, if you can pause the video right now and see if you can write a good description for it, maybe come up with some new ideas. Pause it right now and then we'll get back in a second. Okay, so I hope you paused it and got a chance to write that down. Just kind of figure it out yourself. It's good practice. And we're going to move on. Okay, so here's what I wrote. Email communication is necessary in Pville to uphold an informed, knowledgeable, and helpful government. Due to the necessity of speedy response and quick communication, Supreme Council members must respond to all emails pertaining to the Great Kingdom of Pville within 48 hours of the email being received in the Supreme Council member's inbox. If said Supreme Council member does not respond within the given time frame, they will be fined 30 karma points for each ignored email. Special exceptions, i.e. tech failure, loss of access, or extreme cases, can be appealed to the Chair of Concerns, who can grant said Supreme Council member an extension based on the Supreme Council member's plea. This bill will be silent on the matter of length, open to interpretation and adjustment for future technology. So can you find all of my points? We're going to go over them right now. Number 1, why? Due to necessity of speedy response and quick communication. I want this to happen in Pville, and that's why I'm writing this bill. Number 2, what? What do I want to happen? I want an informed, knowledgeable, and helpful government. These two are really interchangeable. I mean, they both kind of mean the same thing, but they're both super important to include and think about when you're writing a bill. Number 3, how? Supreme Council members must respond to all emails pertaining to the Great Kingdom of Pville within 48 hours of the email being received in the Supreme Council member's inbox. So I did miss something, which the workshop on Thursday actually noticed, and that was super good. This is why it's good to have multiple people read over and look at your bills, because Good bills take a lot of time and they need multiple people's input. So, what the workshop noticed was that I didn't say how this bill was going to be enforced. Who decides who gets fined? Right here, I said they will be fined 30 karma points for each ignored email. Is this the police officer? Is this security? Is this DODs of each period? Supreme Council members? You know, like who decides this? I didn't write that in, and that's why it's good to have multiple people look at your bill. Number 4, when. This bill will be silent on the matter of length, open to interpretation and adjustment for future technology. So this is what I wrote. Maybe you wrote something different in your bill, but this is also super important. Once again, you need to include this in all of your bills. Number 5, special exceptions can be appealed to the chair of concerns who can grant said Supreme Council member an extension based on the Supreme Council member's plea. So maybe you wrote that DODs would give exceptions or King P, is a bad idea because you don't want to, stress King P out any more than he already is. So once again, special exceptions can be appealed to the chair of concerns. Because in my mind, this has to do with concerns. But, you might have written something different. This is super important to include, especially in pay bills. Okay, step 4, benefits and drawbacks. You have to be honest. This can help you rewrite the bill if necessary as well and can sway people one or the other. So you should really be writing 3 benefits and drawbacks for each bill that you write. You have to be honest with the drawbacks because, maybe you're writing this drawback and you're like, oh, like, I didn't write who gets fined. Like, maybe I should go back in my bill and change that. And that's going to make your bill a better bill because any drawback that you can think of is something that someone else can think of as well. And benefits are also super important to include, but it needs to be even. No bill is going to be perfect. And if you're writing a bill that has way more drawbacks than benefits, no one's going to vote on it. So it should be about even. And I also think it's good to include drawbacks because if people in the Supreme Council meeting understand that you already saw these drawbacks and this was the best bill you can write, they're going to trust you in voting yes to it because they trust that you already thought of these drawbacks and you found a way to fix them. Okay, so here's what I wrote. For benefits, can increase communication and the spread of information, which was the goal of my bill. The goal of your bill should be a benefit of your bill. Assist busy and overwhelmed Supreme Council members with speedy communication. Once again, that was a goal of my bill. Will be helpful for event and meeting planning. Yes, it totally will. You don't want to do anything far-fetched in the benefits because then people kind of doubt your bill. For drawbacks, does not apply to non-Supreme Council members such as DOI, DOT, or regular citizens. Maybe this might be an argument that someone has, and you already have a comeback for that. You have a reason why you didn't include that in your bill. Number 2, can fine Supreme Council members for unnecessary reasons, possibly too short of a time limit. When I added this in, I was thinking, oh, maybe I should, if someone else agrees with me on this drawback, I can go back and change the time limit to eliminate that drawback. So step 5, send off to archives. That's kind of obvious. It's at the top of every bill. So what did you learn in this informational workshop? Number 1, be descriptive. This is your most important thing. So you don't want your bill to be taken to law and have lawyers like find a loophole in a way to get out of your bill, or someone shoots your bill down in a Supreme Council meeting because of your vague details. Be as descriptive as anything you can think of, right? You want to get to the point. You don't need superfluous words, fancy language. You don't need any of these extra things. You just want to get to the point, say what you mean to say, and be done with it. Number 3, use Orwell's 4 questions. Once again, that's what am I trying to say? How can I say that? How can I make this clearer? How can I make this shorter? These are super important questions. Okay. Number 4, include all 5 necessary points. Once again, you can go back in the video. Why, what, how, when, and exceptions. You should put these in all bills. Number 5, be honest. This is super important. Once again, it can help you write a better bill. It can help people, discuss your bill before you bring it to Supreme Council. And that's all for today. So I hope you learned something in this bill workshop and have a great day.